Yeah.
One thing that I also, as I've been following you, that I also appreciate, because I'm also equally having the same passion on education,
Lovely.
and your passion, I think, is passion, pushy passion, because even when I look at the leadership roles that you have held, most of them, they have to do with education. I mean, you were the academic officer for the VETS SRC, you were the academic officer for SASCO, you also served in the council for the VETS Education Student Council, education. And in terms of your studies as well, Bachelor of Education honors in e-learning, those kind of things. And currently you're doing your master's in educational technology, management, and organizational development. It's moving, man. We're moving and everything
education
like that.
Is the way.
You get what I'm saying? So now, as an educationist that you are, it makes me to it will be a disservice for us not to have this conversation, because also you are very much involved in technology, in terms of what you study. I mean, you are doing an MSc in educational technology. Let's talk about technology and education. What is the integration there in South Africa? Where are we? Are we advancing? Are we going? Are we staying still? Are we going backward? What's happening in that regard? Because technology, I mean, right now, due to COVID-19, I mean, we're doing these Zoom things. You're a lecturer. Probably some of your, in one of your videos at Galaxy Network, you're talking about blended learning, that you have some students who come to class and some they can be online and everything like that. So technology is here, but how are we going to integrate it to education? How is it integratable? Lead us.
Definitely.
Sure.
So just to highlight that, I'm just going to speak about a lot of stuff, because this is where my interest and my heart and my hurt as well is, as far as education divide, is concerned, right? So the first part is, I wrote an article on City Press talking about how COVID-19, exposed the digital divide in South Africa,
Sure.
Because I can tell you now that we are all experiencing the same curriculum throughout South Africa, but that very same curriculum does not speak the realities of the child who's in the rural areas, the child who's in the townships. The realities are not the same. And we get to see how, even to date, right, in South Africa, we still have kids that still learn under a tree. We have much schools in South Africa, but we're talking about quality education post apartheid eras. It's very sad. And the divide in terms of technology is it gets widened every day, because we are told or informed that we are in the so-called fourth industrial revolution. What is that even? And if you can really look into that topic on its own, is that, dude, for me, let me just be honest right now, because I've been doing a lot of study and reading on this particular topic of the fourth IR. Even the Minister of Education, even the president is talking about it, even the deputy president, everybody in parliament, everybody in the education sector is talking about, hey, we're in the fourth IR. But what is it? Let me just, if you can just, stop a person to say, okay, what is 4IR?
Sure.
We then define it from first, second, third, and then we can now conclude that And as South Africa, we are far from that. We cannot even adopt that concept because of the divide that persists within our own country, particularly within the education system, right? So if you're going to determine or characterize 4IR as having smart boards, as having smartphones, that is a reality for some township schools in Gauteng, Free State, and KZN, part of it, not the entire provinces or even the entire South Africa, right? So we cannot comfortably declare that we are within this so-called digital revolution, 4IR, because the reality is that for this, more than 50% of our schools, we literally do not have ICT connection in that regard. So how can we comfortably say that we are in the 4IR? Is it a Gauteng debate only, or is it an all non-province debate? I mean, no other province is really as loud as we are in Gauteng. Like there are no other provinces that are as loud with this 4IR. So what are we really saying? Is it a Gauteng thing, And because how things feel that we are there, are really there as a collective. Inclusivity, like you said. So as far as technology is concerned and education, there is a divide that is being seen and observed, and it continues to grow on a day-to-day basis, particularly now in this COVID-19 times, because there is no much of face-to-face interaction, and you get to see that, you know what, those affluent schools that can really have Google Classroom, that can have Blackboard, that can have all these other Sakai and all these other LMSs like the learning management systems, they're moving. And our township schools and rural schools, they're coming on a day-to-day basis or alternating. So today we have grade 4s, on Wednesday we have grade 7s, type of vibe. So we get to see how this divide continues to grow. And the other part is we have Black people, because you spoke about how this divide is affecting, those marginalized groups. And you have Black people in parliament, but Black people are not advocating enough for the Black people in South Africa. So that's my thing. It's time that we have honest conversation to be responsive in our responses as far as technology in particular is concerned. We really need to start having such honest conversations so that we're able to inform better the policies that govern education and those policies that govern educational policies as well. So the other part is you spoke about transformation and the media as portraying a lot of narratives. The other part is transformation must come from the media, because what we get to see is that there is a particular narrative that is being portrayed, and we get to not see the other part of the story. For example, something can trend now in the next 2 hours. After that, you'll never hear about it. So my thing is, why don't we have an afterthoughts conversation about clicks advert for now to say, okay, yes, EFM went out and disrupted the day-to-day occurrences, and then there was some form of memorandum, and there was form of argument in EFM and whatnot. But on second thoughts, because now the emotions are down, because now we can logically, we assume that we can logically think now that the rationale is there. What is the afterthought post all that trending? There are not cases that go that trend and they just disappear within the space. So my thing as well is that let's just get to revive those conversations post the drama, post the higgy haga that comes with it, the frenzy that comes with these topics. So for me, transformation, it really has to do with how do we analyze discourses, number one. Do we do that based on an analytical and logical eye, or it is motive? It is empowered and informed by emotions because we feel that was racist. We feel that was not even about the Black female hair or the white female hair. What is it about? Let's just have that sober conversation post the drama.
The drama,
Let's have the conversation while we are now settled. We are now able to think. I assume that now we are able to really logically think. It's okay, fine. What is the issue there? Was it an issue of the hair? Was it racism? Was it gender representation? Was it the narrative that is constantly portrayed by the media? And how do we then move forward strategically with strategic solutions forward? Because again, 5 bursaries post all that drama. Is it now? You may think yes or no. That is a very objective, subjective answer, by the way. But I'm just saying, for all the drama, was it worth it? Type of thing. And the other part is it is it a racist issue? Is it an identity issue now? We need to locate each and
issues,
every let's not be generic, because now we are really influenced by emotions. Yes, it was very good because at a time where ANC and DA did not provide leadership in this regard, EFF took over. And I was like, okay, somebody's talking. Whether or not it's right, at least somebody's saying something, right?
Sure.
While other people are going to Zimbabwe under lockdown regulations. Let's be honest. Hey.
With flights, with SNDF flights,
Let's be honest to say. And another part is we get to see how our president is really trying, in terms of reconciling the whole country. He was laughing, even talking about, he showed like some smiley face when he spoke about Jerusalem. Let's just give that lively country, because a lot is happening. But let's try to see the good in everything.
In everything,
let's just try to see the transformation. To answer your question, actually, and the digital divide is that it is there, and I think it's up to people like me and you who are within the spaces where we can really try and assist in informing these decisions. I mean, I might not be in that position of influence to really speak about policy change and everything else, but if I can write a column or I can write an opinion piece for this, somebody will listen, somebody will read it, and somebody will come in like, actually, Chief, you have raised your issues, let's talk about thinking about issues and everything else. But I can talk the whole day about this topic because it's really close to my heart. The divide is there, and it's very much visible on a day-to-day basis. I can give you a scenario now that happened today. They actually working, but I'm not gonna speak much detail about it because, again, bureaucracies are there. It's a marketing space, and you can see how the system perpetually, works to just maintain the status quo. It is there. It is everywhere. And as a newbie, like myself, you will try to navigate the space, number one, and number two, you will try to really learn in the process. So there's that shift and divide that continues to happen. Education-wise, there's just a lot that we can talk about.
No, we must talk about these things, and hence why we have people like you on Conference Scripted, and we make sure that whether it's dark or blue, when you say you're available, it's none. It's happening. So. You said a lot, me and you, I think we can talk, over and over the whole day, because of, I think the issues that you're raising resonate with me as well. But then, my argument has always been that it doesn't matter what you bring, right?
Yeah.
You see, right now, if I'm broken inside, and you buy me these clothes, you make up me and everything like that, I look good. But the fact that I'm broken inside will actually make the goodness to even not be of value. So why am I saying this? If you have an unequal society, a society with a Gini coefficient which is quite high, we're the most unequal, country. Society. We rank there. You get what I'm saying? And in that unequal society, whatever you bring or whatever happens, whether it's a pandemic, whether you bring 4IR, but because it finds an unequal society, that thing, what it actually does is that it actually enlarges that inequality. I mean, right now, the pandemic, like we said, that people from private schools, they were not affected, People with medical aids most likely would not be affected like someone in Alexandra. You get what I'm saying? Even if we talk about education, bringing technology and everything like that, a child who's going under a tree will still, you get what I'm saying? And someone who's in Sandhurst or Northcliffe, because of their technological devices, they will move very fast. So you're also creating another imbalance, in a sense that the child who actually went to Northcliffe High and someone who went to Mdantsane High or Togasukukuna High, then when those people meet one day in the corporate space, you have made a disservice to the other. So we keep on fighting, we keep on the gap.
My thing is, if you can be in a leadership position, I think it's a constant reminder that you must always reflect. I think one of the conversations that I always have with this other human being that I always talk to is to say, also, it must be in the political space. And I was like, that's good. But I feel like I should always, the other problem with being in a political space, that you must always be in a constant journey of reflection, because at the end of the day, you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror for the next 5 years and be like, I don't recognize this person in the mirror because of you have been contaminated by a lot of things that happen to you without really, just making sure that you dissect each and every issue. Say, if this thing is coming to me, am I really, really up for it? Because what happens in the political space is that you get contaminated by a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things, like I spoke up earlier about corruption, to say there's a lot that comes with being in the political space, and in the process, you can get to lose yourself. So being in the political space, I think it's an individual choice, number one. And the other part is it's a call for humanity as well, because you see that there's a gap in society and you want to fill it. But as you want to fill the gap, there are other forces and voices that want to then contaminate whatever it is that we have. So I think as leaders in these positions or in these governing structures, that we really need to start thinking much more purposefully, intentionally, with why are we there, you know? Because when I got to SRC, there was this one particular who said to me, you know what, you are an incredible leader, don't forget why you are doing what you're doing. And those are the kind of people that you want to have in your life, because it's not really about being in the SRC, but it's about not losing yourself in the process. And I was like, this is a very profound thing for someone to say, because once you're there, somebody who's in the provincial leadership of this other party will call you, say, hey, actually, Chief, we have this tender, and you are with you have the constituency. There's this part, take this part, and then I can keep this one. Just do minor things for the students, as long as the work is done, whether it's good or not good, as long as it's done. You know, that's the other part with tenders as well. There's no regular feedback, and there's no regular maintenance of what is being given. So if you give me 1 million tender, I mean, ask me, Palesa, what did you do with it? Don't just give me a tender because that was good. Because I can be very good with writing bios. I can just outline and outline issues and be like, hey, Chief, there's 10 students that need funding, and we need to also accommodate them. They need food, they need that. But again, accountability, account for each and every cent. So I think ethical leadership is very at the heart of this as well, like I said,
Yeah, and maybe we don't have maybe accountability or competency criterions or rubrics that maybe we need to use. You get what I'm saying? Because every year you wait for the auditor's report, for instance, and the auditor will come and be like, okay, this municipality, they've actually had fruitless expenditure of this and this and this much. This money was wasted and everything like that. And all we do is that we look at the auditor's report and be like, oh, so much money was lost through consultation, but nothing was implemented and everything like that. The same thing with stats, every year Stats SA comes with the stats and be like, unemployment right now is sitting at this point, these are the affected people and everything like that. Maybe the factors affecting this is 1, 2, 3. And after that, it's just like, okay, bye. Life goes on.
Business as usual. It's business as usual. And the other part is, there are a lot of bodies and councils and, organizations that deal with such issues in terms of curbing corruption. But are they empowered enough? Are they capacitated enough? Are they supported enough? Because I can tell you now to say, Ben, I'm giving you this responsibility to say, ensure that all the government officials are abiding by the law, they're complying. But are you supported by those same government officials? Are you empowered? Are you even capacitated? Are you even given a voice to speak? Because what they'll do is, if Ben is talking too much, they give it like a million to shut up, take this money and go live there by sentence, get your car, get your money, shut up.
Yeah, get a Gucci, man.
But don't disturb us, please. We've been doing this for like the past 100 years. When I come here with the new information, and when I sound conscious, hey, Chief, go sit there, sanctioned, and just leave us alone. This is how things have been. It'll always be like this. So that's the other part. There's this rigidness in terms of wanting to change. Nobody wants to change because change is not easy and it takes time. So because the status quo has been maintained for such a long time, there's really little to no room to improve, because people who are there, they're just closing ranks for you in political terms. They're just covering power, just closing power there for you, and it's very much hard to really navigate the space if there's no support, and if you're not empowered enough, and if you're not capacitated enough.
Say with the power invested in me, right? Say that I'm the president. I'm the president of the country, and I appoint Palesa Mofokeng as the Minister of Education. What would you do? What would you change? I know it's a lot. But yeah, just give me one point of departure that you just like, but that hardcore, I'll definitely go for that.
Can I tell you one thing? And it's one of the conversations that I had with this one friend of mine. I was like, you know what? Yes, we have this good content, but what is missing? I think for me, what in terms of my observation, right? Yes, we can talk about technological divide. We can talk about the inequality within the education system. We can talk about everything else that comes. But you know what? What we're actually missing, and this is at the heart of ethical leadership, right? And this is what we can learn from China as well. If for me, I was the minister, right?
Of which you will be simple. At some point.
I believe simplicity, like Kiptek says, that is the ultimate sophistication. Let's go back to basics. We are so consumed with the trends and what is, trending and everything else. But for me, I'll make sure that from grade 1 or grade up to grade 3, at least, that we have an enforced curriculum on morals and ethics, because it is at that very level where we get to prune and prepare citizens for their future. We think it's math that can do that. We think it's natural science and history.
Yeah.
Yes, they do form a part, but let's talk about morals. Ubuntu, number one, the basic thing to say, check this thing out, man. And I mean, this is a react that we have. Nowadays, it will be morals and ethics for me. So check how China does it. China does it very, very well. So to say, up until grade 3, no kid is taught any content-heavy subject, but they're taught about morals. And if you can look at the population in that country and how they treat each other, how they treat their leaders, how they treat the environment, go to breathe. 2 minutes is enough. You won't even sit there for like a good minute, because why?
Sure.
The speaks volumes, right? And that is at the heart of morals and just being able to take care of yourself and the environment. Back to basics. Let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
And also, let's not focus mainly on the STEM subjects, right?
Yeah.
I may not be academic. I may not be, all those content-heavy subjects. Talk about sports. Why are we not, celebrating sports as it should be? And I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, "Hey, Chief, this thing is happening. It's really happening." And we are so consumed about getting your A's in your math, getting your A's in this. But now there's a caster somewhere who's very athletic. There is a somewhere who knows chess more than anything.
Yeah.
There is a Ben who loves agriculture. How is the education system assisting those 3 people to be the best they can be? I mean, let's be person specific now. Let's stop talking about content and being content relevant. No. Speak to me as a child. You say, okay, Palesa, you are a visual person. You are this type of, you are very athletic, you are very academic. How does then the education system assist you to being the best? Because the reason why we have this high unemployment rate is not because people are not, they don't have the skills, or maybe some of them do not have, but majority is you are not employed because you're not employable. And being employable needs skills that are specific to a particular industry, workplace, and whatnot. And when you get out of your matric or postgrad, do you have as much skills for that workspace? Do you have as much knowledge about that workspace? And also, am I able to be an entrepreneur? Am I able to create jobs as well? Because we talk about critical thinking. Is it there in the curriculum? How are we fostering it? Because I can think CAPS is there, but a lot of critiques that come with CAPS statement is that it is very prescriptive. And with anything prescriptive is that it tells you, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. Now, is that how we literally build critical thinking? You can ask yourself and be like, critical thinking? Allow me to be me and just flourish. If you have to have schools where maybe from grade 4 or grade 7, you have to now teach kids how to plate, hey, so be it. Let's not wait up until post-matric and be like, actually, Palesa is good with her hands. What can she do? She must do clothes.
Yeah.
From the onset, education system must capacitate me to be able to be employed, be employable, and create jobs in the process. That's what it should be. Back to basics. Let's STEM is good. Yes, I get it. It's very good for the development and enhancement of every country.
Yeah.
But is it inclusive? So we've been talking about inclusivity and transformation. Is it inclusive? That's the basics. Morals are everything. Morals.
Yo, now I can end this conference scripted. I can end it. Maybe this is the, I don't know, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, yes. Me, like, no, this is not the last, episode that I have with you. I definitely gonna beg for more, because I think that,
there's a lot.
There's a lot, actually, because I was actually reading an article actually during the week. It was around psychology and the psychology of children, and it was saying that a child between the ages of 0 and 7, their brains are still sort of absorbing. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's where you need to encode morality, ethics, and everything like that. Because in that age, within that interval, whatever that the child has seen, whatever that the child has been internalized, he becomes. And that's why even when you look at kids playing in the streets, you can tell that this kid is from if a kid is from a family just throwing vodka and everything like that, the kid is also going to be like that. You get what I'm saying? Because of they're still in a very subconscious mind, whereby they are not yet conscious, so their subconscious mind is recording everything and internalizing it, and for them that is actually going to be right. And I was when you spoke about China, I was also looking at Finland. Finland by far has the best education system in the world. And if you look at the education system, especially your preschool and everything like that, it's exactly like that. It's more focused on morals, letting kids to play, let kids to be kids.
Learn from the best.
You get what I'm saying? And also you look at other countries which have the best education, like your Singapores and everything like that, your Japans, most of the Asian countries and stuff like that. The education system is mainly is humane at its foundational level. It's more humanities driven. And the STEM thing, hey, we need to be very careful here, because the focus on too much STEM. And I was also looking at a documentary a couple of days. It was a documentary. It was not a documentary, but it was I think it was an interview of this guy. I forgot his name, but he was talking about how technology is ruining our lives psychologically. Because we are always online. We are, so that actually what it does, he says that it disturbs our focus. So that's why we can't focus for too long. After 5 minutes, you feel like you need to grab your phone,
you're bored,
check what is happening and everything like that. And he was also talking about how this social media has created a world which is not real. Like you see people on Instagram posting they're at Bali and everything like that. And because we see that happening every day, our brain records that, and that is the best life. And when we can't reach that, then psychologically we have problems and everything. So psychologically, even though we're advancing in STEM, psychologically as a people, that's why even sometimes when I look at issues of GBV, I'm just like, it's a psychological issue. At some point, it needs to be located psychologically. You are sick. Or there is something psychologically that is not actually right. And psychology is informed by our societies, the influence of our cultures, the influence of pop culture, the influence of the media. Everything that we see becomes our psychology. That's why sometimes DJs will like saying this thing to say, give me the 5 books that you have read, I'll tell you what kind of a person you are. Or tell me your friends, I'll tell you the kind of person you are.
I'll show you who you are.
I'll show you who you are. So,
and that is literally that. I mean, that. Okay, you want to say something?
No. Go ahead.
Yes, literally. When I do my research about the best education systems in the world, we just get Finland, Singapore, Japan in the top 5, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, when are we learning from such countries? Because for me, this is where the real education occurs. I mean, if you need to look at how we can really really shape the future of the country is to start actually by preparing kids as young as 5, 6, 7. Like you said now, let's just start thinking about how their psyche works and how can we work around that in terms of building a character that we can be proud of in the next 10 years to come. And I think the other part is patience. Our education system is so much results driven, outcome driven.
Yeah.
Even from OBE, outcome based. Outcome has got to do with the result.
Yeah.
So we need to really look into really being patient about the kids that are trying to groom and being very vigilant and visionary in our approach towards transforming the education system as a whole. I mean, it won't happen in 2 years, in 5 years. It's a process, and therefore we must be willing to engage in that process, and also include the teachers in the process. Don't just formulate policies out there with your professors and exclude the people that are supposed to be driving these policies, because that's the other part in education, to say we're excluding the heartbeat in terms of them being part and parts of these conversations. Because I mean, there was an idea for to say we are going to instill ICTs, and there will be programs to capacitate teachers. But can I tell you one thing? Yes, those programs occurred, but it was on a checkbox mentality, to say, check, we did this thing. Whether it's effective or not, we did it. Miss Nisi feels ready to really incorporate ICTs in her learning or teaching strategies, whether or not, as long as when we did it, as a result, it's on a teach on the go basis, and now we are compromising quality in that process, right? So I think the other part is to really say, let's not just empower kids. It's also important to empower parents. We empower teachers and leaders within the schools as well, to say they must be aware. SGPs, they can play a very fundamental role, but where are we leaving them? In some schools, SGPs are very much effective. In others, they are close to non-existent, right? So education as a whole, and in grooming a child alone, it takes a village to raise that one child. And that is an African proverb. I mean, it is true in all senses, including a teacher, a parent, SGP, the leadership of the school, the teacher, even the learner, him or herself, must be included in that process. Because if you're going to make things about me and you're not including me, chief, right? So I think in really, like, in closing, to say, I am an educationist and technologist in terms of the education part of it. And like we spoke about how technology is taking away the human factor, I agree with it. And the reason why actually I won't even buy some certain phones is because they're making me like, now I don't have that agency to say, now I'm being reminded by some form of a voice. Called, I'll tell you, there's this voice of a woman.
Siri,
right? And I'm like, there's some phones that I won't even have, because of now must depend on this phone and this machine to really remind me. What happened to my brain? God gave me this. I'm just gonna sound religious right now, but I feel like we are losing the human agency in the expense of incorporating technology.
Sure.
And the reason why I was like, you know what, let me just go to this field of technology and education part of it, so that I can probably try to find ways in which we can incorporate the two worlds of technology and human beings in a way that they can coexist. Not one existing in the other. Let's coexist. Yes, we need education to move on. Trust me, we need it, because we need to ultimately grow as a human race. But how do we incorporate the two so that they can coexist and nobody will say, hey, that robot is coming to replace my job now. No, let's capacitate human beings so that they're able to coexist with machines, robots, and so on and so forth. So that was just my part in terms of what you said in terms of technology and it being humanistic, and
we need to start building holistic approaches, not unilateral, narrow sort of approaches, because then like we said, everything is interconnected.